In the quiet moments before the world wakes up, there's a place where pain meets peace, where every breath feels like a prayer and grief stands still. We carry the weight of what was and search for meaning in the smallest things. And sometimes all it takes is one moment to remind us we're still here, still healing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. You guys know who it is. This is Tony Lynch. And yes, we are your number one podcast to bring you stories around death, dying, and grief, all the messiness that comes in between, with some amazing people out here doing some amazing things, changing people's lives one heartbeat at a time. Now, before I bring on my next guest, I would like to say if this is your first time tuning in and you're tuning in anywhere other than the YouTube channel, head on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to it. That way you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode. Now, one other thing before I bring on my guest, this is for educational purposes only. This is a live stream, so if you have any questions for either myself or my guest, put them in the comment section. We'll be sure to answer them as we go. Now, without further ado, guys, help me welcome my next guest, Mr. Ted Chestnutt, to the show.
Hey,
Ted, Mr. Chestnutt, how you doing today, brother? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm blessed and highly favored, man. I thank God for this opportunity to be on your platform, man. I'm looking forward to the conversation. Just want to thank you and your support team for this opportunity. Actually, this is my first one for the year. This is my
hey,
first,
man, you know what I'm saying? We break it in right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, you know what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
saying?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
so,
Yes, sir.
much gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for being on the show today to tell about your story and your amazing journey of how you got to where you are, but most importantly, about the work that you're doing. Now,
Amen.
before we get started, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. So tell people who you are, where you're from, and about the work that you do.
Sure, it'll be my pleasure to do so. Once again, my name is Theordore Chestnutt. Actually, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, but currently right now I reside in Goldsboro, North Carolina with my wife of this June will be like 28 years of marriage. So I thank God for that. I'm in it for the long haul, man. I'm in it for the long haul. Once you make that commitment, first and foremost, once you commit to God, there's no going back. You know what I mean? I committed to God that I'm going to ride with it. You know what I mean? So, and our lovely daughter, and actually I'm taking her back to school today. So I'm going to be missing her. She was home for the holidays. So, and actually she's going to be turning 21 this April. So like I said, currently reside in Goldsboro, North Carolina, man. And pretty much I'm just living in the blessings of my trials and tribulations, things that I've experienced in life. You know what I mean, Mr. Lynch?
Yes, man. Gratitude to you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you
Most
so much.
people don't understand what that means to be in this thing for the long haul, right?
Yes, sir.
They don't understand the process that you may have to go through. They don't understand that those trials and tribulations leads to a destination. You know what I'm saying? But you got to go through the process and
Yeah.
journey in order to get to the destination. And
Yes,
too
sir.
many people, I believe, you know what I'm saying, too many people get wrapped up into the destination and really don't understand what the journey is, right? They're not students of their own craft, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's something that I've always lived by not always lived by. Once I stepped into this role, I understood that not only was it a commitment, but it was also a gift, right? You know what I'm saying? And once I began to really understand and tap into it, that's where the commitment and obedience came to the Creator.
Amen.
Because I had to submit to the process because I was so confused because I didn't understand it at first.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But once you go, hey, what is this thing over here? You begin to put together these dots, man, and it leads you to a place where not only your communication, but your connective, your being able to connect with things changes.
Yes, sir.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So now, we just finished up 2025, brother. We just
Yes,
finished
sir.
up 2025. Highlighting some of the things that you did last year. What is one of the biggest takeaways that you now have with you that will be with you for the rest of this walk that you're doing?
Okay. Well, the biggest takeaway is that God's grace and mercy.
Mm.
No, it was God's grace and mercy who saw me and brought me into 2026. One of the things I did last year was actually, and for those of you who don't know, I'm an independent, contemporary gospel artist, inspirational gospel artist. And one of the things that I did last year was I actually released a single, and I'm sure we'll probably talk more about it, and the
Yeah.
single was, it's called A Man's Cry, A Sign of Maturity, right? So, and it pretty much kind of shares my testimony. I'm sure we'll probably get into that also. But
Yeah.
that was one of the greatest things that I did last year. And actually, I released it back what 20 last year. My mother had passed away September 10th. Well, in 2024, my mother passed away September 24th of September 10th of 2024. So in honor of her, God afforded me the opportunity to really release that single actually on the first anniversary of her passing, which was September 10th, September 10th of 2025. He afforded me the opportunity to release that single. And like that single pretty much talks about my journey and my testimony. And on the other side from that single, I was afforded the opportunity to get together with a couple of radio hosts that I built a relationship with, and we pretty much started conducting panels to support the single and also to speak about the title of the single when it comes to A Man's Cry, A Sign of Maturity. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Now let's talk about this journey, right?
Yes,
When
sir.
did you became a gospel singer?
Well, pretty much became a gospel singer in my teenage years. I can't really give you the specific age, but I can tell you what kind of led up to that.
Yeah.
I always had the love of music from my father. My father used to DJ and stuff like that, so I pretty much picked up the love of music from my father. And watching him on DJ and stuff like that, I kind of picked up that trait, as far as playing music and stuff like that. And then as I was DJing, I got to the point where, as one day I want to hear my songs on these records and stuff like that, right? But then as we get older, actually I started out, trying to be a rapper. Then I started out, trying to do some R&B and stuff like that. But as you go through trials and tribulations in your life, you kind of have to redirect yourself, and to specifically answer your question. I also like to play basketball, right? So growing up, living in Brooklyn, we used to travel from borough to borough, from Queens to Manhattan to Long Island, just playing basketball. And actually, one day we were playing basketball in Brooklyn, New York. And sometimes when you're hanging around the wrong crowd, I have to be honest. Even though I wasn't selling drugs, I had relationships with drug dealers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we were at that park, playing basketball, and the game. Obviously, somebody was betting on the game because the game was kind of close. And what happened was. And the reason why I know somebody was betting because there was some random shooting, during that game, and during that random shooting, I actually got shot in the leg. You know,
Okay.
yeah, I got shot in the leg, so I had to get a blood transfusion and stuff like that. And just from that experience alone, that's what kind of redirected my course in life to really, that's when I actually got heavily involved in church. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
from that experience, that's what, like I said, and when I got involved in church, of course, like I said, I always had the love of music. So one of the first ministries that I had the opportunity to join was the music ministry. Right. So that's how I
Okay.
pretty much got involved in, as far as that redirection of really getting into doing gospel music.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Now, as you begin to, um, well, better question.
Yeah.
Today, a lot of people are using AI, right? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm guilty of it as well. I can't sing to
Okay.
save my life, but I can write music, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've noticed is that with AI, being someone who cannot sing, I'm able to put my style of music out there for people and just say,
Yes, sir.
hey, this is something for me to do.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that may um, may look at where we at today and go, this takes away from everything else. Now I can go either which way, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I think that it gives people like myself a creative outlet, to be able to get what's in us out, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Without without we ain't hurt nobody.
Right.
Now, in the same sense, do I think it takes away from the long term artists like yourself and things like that? I say
Mhm.
not really. I think it really just puts something out there for us to be able to use as another tool to enhance what we do.
Right. Correct. Hmm.
Everybody may be different though. Everybody may be
Yeah.
different. What's your thoughts on that?
Well,
Denise, brother, how you doing? We got Denise tuning in over here on Instagram. How you doing, my brother? It's great to see you, man.
amen. Okay, so pretty much while you were talking, what pretty much came to my mind is that, when it comes to, for me, right? For me, I sang about what I've experienced in life, right? Because one thing that I was always told and always heard is, can't nobody tell your story like you can,
That's what I was saying.
right? And the thing is, I believe in integrity when it comes to ministry, right? And I say that is that because and like you said, everybody is not a singer, right? And this is their opportunity. And this really dropped in my spirit while you were talking. Not everybody is a singer, and not everybody uh, who doesn't sing have an opportunity to express themselves in this type of art format when it comes to singing, right?
Right, right.
But as you were talking, if it's something that you wrote, something that you've experienced in life, whether it be the title of your podcast, whether it be grief, right? If it's integrity and a true testimony that's coming forth and something that you've written, I'm okay with that. And the reason why I say it goes back to, can't nobody tell your story like you can, right? And sometimes even in the gospel field, sometimes you have a lot of artists who are talented, right? But if they're not singing about what they've experienced,
Mm,
some of them could be singing about uh, something that somebody wrote for them, but
yeah.
they truly haven't experienced it,
Mm,
right? So my thing is, when it comes to the AI stuff, if it's something that you've experienced and you want to share what you've been through to encourage, motivate, and encourage and inspire others, hey, that's you. But my thing is, if you haven't experienced anything, any trials and tribulations, and you're trying to encourage somebody, especially through AI, if you don't have that gift, where is the integrity part? That's for me. That's just for me. If that makes sense, what I'm
okay.
saying.
No, I definitely understand that because you'd be surprised at how many people think the same way, right? And I totally agree as well. Because you're absolutely right. Can't nobody tell your story like you.
Mm-hmm.
No one, right? You know what I'm saying? I've been doing podcasting now going on 5, almost 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I have noticed is that throughout the time when I first got comfortable with telling my story, right?
Okay.
Because you go through, you get so excited because somebody's finally asking you, hey, how did you get here, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
you want to tell everybody, about all of these crazy adventures that you've been on. Because that's to me, that's what it is now, right? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? When I connected all the dots, I was like, man, I'd have been on some crazy adventures. Like they're no longer trials and tribulations. And when you're first starting, it takes you to that place of feeling, of emotion.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And that's where that true authentic self comes out because as you begin to go through it, it's going to trigger you. And eventually you get to a place to where, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like this is my story right here. It doesn't have to take 6 hours. I can do it in, this amount of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, when we get into AI, you put a little bit up in there and, and you begin to look at the AI and now you got now you got a friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
now it
Yeah.
goes and everything else, and then they're like, well, you just write the story since you know me so well. It's not the same.
Mm.
It's definitely not the same. But now I will say, if people learn how to use it correctly,
Uh-huh.
I think it can be, because you're going to have to learn it anyway. I think it can do something to allow you to get out um, in front of a lot more people.
Right.
A lot more people. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what your dream is. My dream is I want to be able to talk to millions of people.
Okay.
Anytime that I do something from guest speaking to podcasting to I want to be able to speak to millions of people to be able to get a simple message out.
Right.
Very, very simple. And I think this is where the dream, the purpose, and your gift all comes into play once you realize the process. Your gift wants to be recognized by other people, and the
Yes, sir.
simple message my gift offers to people is like see grief differently, especially working with men, right? And
Yeah.
we'll talk about that, especially working with men. To
Mhm.
help men see grief differently, like it's not a curse, it's not a bag of rocks to be carried, but it's something to be experienced because what you're doing, and this is only my thoughts and opinions, when we do not allow ourselves to have those human emotions,
That's right.
one, I think that we take away from the experience that the creator is trying to have through us.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the experience that we have, the creator is going, that you're here for a reason. I want to see life from your perspective.
Yes, sir.
Allow me to feel everything that you're going through you. Because you got to remember, God, God creator, whatever people want to call him, doesn't see us the way that we see ourselves.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, we are spirits to the creator. We're an experience so he can be better you know what I'm saying, so he can know, or the creator can know when um where to add in that sugar and spice on the
Yes,
next one.
sir. That's
You
right.
know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying?
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you'll
Yes,
be able
sir.
to add in that sugar and spice on the next
Yes,
one.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just my thoughts and opinions on it, my brother. These are just my thoughts and opinions on it. Now, working with men
Hmm.
and things like that, and we'll get into your show as well.
Hmm.
What has been your experience, and how did you get into? Because you got to. What's the name of? Tell the audience what is the name of your show that you do with your other colleagues.
Pretty much, it's called a sign of maturity. Well, a man's cry, a sign of maturity panel, and pretty much, like I said, it kind of stems from the single that I released. And what we do is we just get together. And I reached out specifically to people that I know who've experienced, some things, right, when it comes to trials and tribulations and stuff like that. And also, we have a young lady who's her name is Dr. Sharita Lovelace, right? She's the only female woman that's a part of the platform, right? And the reason why I asked her to be on the platform is because one, I've interviewed on her platform before, right? So I kind of enjoyed that time with her, right? And another reason why I asked her to be a part of it is because from my experience that when you go through trials and tribulations, right, you sometimes they say that every beside every man is, well, behind every good man is a good woman, right? But I kind of beg to differ. I think beside every good man is a good woman. So women are not behind. We're side by side, right? And the reason why I asked her to be a part of it because she's a woman, right? So sometimes, from my experience, I think us as men, we also need to get perspective from a woman's side. Just my opinion, and the reason why I say that because I was married for 27, 20, going on 20, 28, 29 years, right? And I know that I couldn't have done this journey or what I went through as far as, dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, right? My wife was there with me, right, through the whole experience, right? And although, like I said, my wife is not a part of the podcast, but the reason why I asked this particular young lady, because I know her heart. And like I said, sometimes we need to hear things from a woman's perspective. And she brings, great insight. Like I said, I didn't want to make it, although the song is about men and the panel is about men, but like I said, sometimes we need to hear things from a woman's perspective, because sometimes us as men, no, we tend to, when we're going through, we tend to blame the woman, right? But the thing is, they're not the ones that's going through the trial and tribulation, so we can't blame them, right? Because it really depends on the situation, right? Once I heard, Willie Moore Jr. on a show, whereas, there was a gentleman up there, and he kept mentioning, well, my woman, my lady, this and that. But he asked him specifically, what have you done? What did you do to cause whatever it was? You got what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
So when he said that kind of brings it back. Whereas sometimes, we can't cast a fault. We have to look inside ourselves first before we can pretty much blame someone else. You know what I mean? So like I said, I just
Yeah.
want to, just to like I said, get things from also from a woman's perspective. That's, so that's what
No,
the
I
podcast is.
totally agree. I totally agree. And like I said, being now 7 years of working with men around the world as well, right? Bringing us together to have a place where we can not only be able to learn how to articulate what's going on with us, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's a place where we're surrounded by other men who've gone through something similar.
Right.
Now, this is where I say I agree with having a woman's perspective, but
Okay.
also understanding that we need a place separate from women as well, right? You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Most men that I know that have been raised by our moms or our aunties or anything like that. We have older sisters or younger sisters. We may
Right.
have two of, what I'm saying, homegirls, just friends and stuff like that. Um, we're often taught what is expected of us, and when it comes down to cater, I don't want to say catering,
Uh
but
huh.
being a man to women, whether it be a brother, father, husband, or anything like that,
Right.
right? We're being taught what is expected of us in those situations.
Okay.
And what happens a lot of times is that when you get all of these different perspectives from these women and things like that, we tend to leave out the simple fact of that they're still women.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yes,
it was
sir.
a conversation that I had with someone um, uh, um, about a couple of weeks ago. I said, explain to me,
Mm-hmm.
like when our mothers are raising us,
Okay.
how come they're teaching us to be the men that they don't have? They teach us
Wow.
they teach us to be the ideal men for them, right? You know what I'm saying? But they don't have those men. And then when they put us
Wow.
in the world, you know what I'm saying? We're only ideal to in our mama's eyes.
Copy. Copy.
You see what I'm saying? But
Yes.
now this is where I say if you have a woman on the outside, this is why I love having homegirls because they're on the outside looking in,
Uh huh.
right? You
Uh
know
huh.
what I'm
Uh
saying?
huh.
And
Uh huh.
so I love listening to them
Uh huh.
as long as they're not trying to give me advice on about how to be a man.
They can't. Can't. They can't. There's no way that they can.
There's no way that you can do it.
They can't. They
Right.
can't do that, or because they're not a man and they don't experience what we experience. They don't have the emotions that we have. So just, there's no. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and again, that's why I said, you know what I'm saying, in certain in cases of doing podcasts or doing a panel, having a panel discussion and things like that. It's always good. Like I love the panel. I love the show that I do, the Connect work with my other buddies because we do have a female up there and she comes in with some great stuff. And you know what I'm saying, to be able to be on the outside to listen to everything and see the different perspectives of how we may approach or how we may perceive something.
Right.
It allows us to critically think about the next person
Mm-hmm.
that's going around, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to have that other perspective on those things. Now, which leads me to this: talking about men,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that. You lost your mother,
Mm-hmm.
right? Being a man that you are, how did you um, how did you deal with that, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I know, for me, I after losing both my parents and the multitude of people that I've lost, I've always felt alone in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And for a very long time, I was upset with the Creator. I was like, "Well, you talking
Yeah.
about orphan in the world, right?" You know what I'm saying? And but my go-to language, right? I write, which after a little bit of time, I realized what I was doing, and it helped me along the way of navigating and
Right.
learning how to
Mm-hmm.
heal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for the longest time, I didn't process it. My go-to language was anger. It was
Yeah.
violence. You know what I'm saying? If I'm hurting, you gotta hurt too, right? And there was something inside of me that was a disconnect. And I used to tell the Creator, like, why? Like, you give me all of these things and then you take it away from me. Like, what did I do to you? Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Mm.
Then when my son passed away, I just went, like, for the first time in my life, I'm not dodging bullets. I'm not running from the cops. I'm not doing anything, what I'm saying, mischievous out here in the streets taking penitentiary chances for nothing, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm actually in a great place where I can be a father. I can really learn how to be a man. You
Mm-hmm.
take this away from me too. Now, I say that to say this because I am grateful for the experience that I have, which makes me very effective in what I do.
That's right.
How was your experience?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, um, I was stronger than I thought I was going to be.
Ah, okay, okay.
And the reason why I say that is because I got to take you back to bring you forward.
Okay, come on.
Got to take you back, right? And the reason why I say that actually because my dad passed before my mom,
Okay.
right? So my dad passed back in 2009, right? So my dad was the first person who I was really close with. Of course, he was my father that passed, right? So that was the first personal close experience that I dealt with when it came to someone passing, right? And when my dad had passed away, and actually to give you a little bit more backdrop, when my dad had passed away, a couple of months after that, my uncle passed away, right?
Wow.
And then after that, a couple of months after that, my aunt passed away, and they were all siblings, right?
Wow.
And like I said, being that my dad was, the first person that was close to me that passed, um, I found myself in a dark place, and I actually was uh, diagnosed with multi depression, right? Um, and when I say multi depression, when I went to the doctor, because three people passed in that extensive in that short amount of time,
Right. Right.
right? So I was at work one day. I just couldn't focus. That's when anxiety started kicking in, right? And then when I was at work, my manager which was a female at the time, she had told her what was going on with me. And, she actually once I told her I can't focus, right? And we went outside of work in the parking lot, and we were pretty much talking, right? And that's when she had called my wife. My wife came up to the job, and pretty much had to confess that I needed help. Right, I had to confess that I couldn't take it no more. Like I said, the anxiety was kicking in, and depression, and the reason why I knew, as far as when it came to depression, music is, like I said, that's my love. I have a pre-production studio, here where I stay at and stuff like that. And when I would come home from work, I didn't give a care in the world about it. When I got home from work, I went straight to bed. Nothing. I ain't watched TV. None of that stuff. Right. And that's when and my wife, she didn't really pick up on it. She thought I was probably just tired. You know what I mean? So that's at that point in time, like I said, when we were at work, I had to confess as a man, to two women that I needed help. So I had to make a decision to get this professional help, to continue keep going through the grief or the depression and anxiety that I was experiencing, right? So I actually was admitted as an outpatient in a mental health facility, right? And and this was when I was living in New Jersey. For 3 months, there was a little white van coming to pick me up 5 days a week. One day out of that week, I had to see my psychiatrist, and the other days, they had me doing some type of therapy stuff, drawing, arts and craft, and all that stuff, right? And then, like I said, I did 10 therapy sessions, right? And that went on for like three months, right? And God saw fit that that wasn't, the end of my story, right? So I had to go through that to, like I said, we all go through things that we have to experience to get me to the point where I'm at now. Because if I wouldn't have gotten help or confessed that I needed help at that day when I spoke with my manager and my supervisor, if I wouldn't have got off the road and confessed that I would have hurt myself or hurt somebody else. That's how bad it was for me,
Yeah.
right? That's how bad it was. And the reason I took you back, like I said, to bring you forward. And from that experience, you kind of, and from people passing, sometimes you kind of you think about your own mortality. You know what I mean?
You
You think
know,
about your own mortality. You think about life, and from that experience, being that God brought me on the other side of through. When you go through things like that, you kind of learn really what life is about and what life isn't about, right?
yes.
I learned that life wasn't about me. I had to go through that experience to be on a platform like yours to kind of share my testimony for those who are listening, to encourage them and let them know that, like you said, we're all going to experience trials and tribulations in life,
Mhm.
right? But it's for a purpose and it's for a reason. So when you ask me that question about how did I experience it when I went through my mother, like I said, I was stronger than I thought I would be, right? Because like I said, and at that point in time, I was a focal point, whereas I had to make arrangements and things like that, for my mom's funeral and stuff like that. Because I was handling her affairs and stuff like that,
Mhm.
right? So I we're all human, but I had to pray and really not let my emotions get the best of me. Because I didn't want to go. I knew that I couldn't go back to that depression and that anxiety state.
Mm.
I knew that I couldn't go back to
Yeah.
that. So I had to press through it.
Yes.
I had,
I
yeah.
want to talk about that for a little bit, right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But first, I want to say a big shout out to my friend Tina on Instagram. Like she's a great. She's the founder of Widowhood, which is an organization that helps women who have lost their spouse and
Amen.
everything. And she's another powerhouse out there. You know what I'm saying? Doing some
Wow.
amazing things. So she's been tuning in over here on Instagram and everything. I would like to introduce y'all to. I think, you know what I'm saying,
Okay.
getting you on her show as well, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
Uh, but now you said something. And when you said this, it took me to the place where my life changed,
Hmm.
right? You know what I'm saying? Because no one paid attention to me.
Wow.
Um, Now that I sit back and I look, the one thing that I try to educate people on is that make sure you don't put the people that you love up on the pedestal because at the time that they may need you the most, you may not, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to be paying attention to it. Because in your mind, this is the strongest person that you know.
Mm.
The strongest people that you know would be the ones that's going through the most hurtful things.
Yes, sir.
But since we don't know how not to be strong, we express those things in our actions,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know what I'm saying? So, say for instance, when I got to my dark place,
Mm-hmm.
I took 2.5 months and I planned out in detail my underlying.
Wow. Yeah. 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 It
I
take
knew
you.
what I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how I was going to do it. I knew from every detail I had planned out. And what I figured out what I can do with people, because people had put me up on such a pedestal, I used it
Wow.
to my advantage. Right?
Okay.
Because I was the one that everybody talked to. I was the one that,
Right.
hey, no
Right.
matter what you're going through, hey, come and talk to Tony, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Now I didn't ask for the role, it was kind of appointed to me, and I just kind of went with it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So at this now that understanding that um I began to notice patterns with people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The people that used to call me, I realized that they were calling me on certain days.
Ah.
I needed a full weekend to do what I needed to do.
Uh-huh.
So what I did is that I would stop answering the call, their phone calls on those days, and I would call them throughout the week. So
Uh-huh.
now, you know what I'm saying? Now that we into the habit of talking during the week, you know what I'm saying? That leaves me a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I've already got it. No one's calling me, and I did it. I I did it in front of everybody, and I was like, no one's even paying attention to me. But
Mm.
inside, I was going, you know what? The less you know, the less it's going to hurt. You know, because if you're not paying attention to me, and you've allowed me to do this, you know what I'm saying? Then what's the purpose of me even telling you? That was my mental. What's the purpose of me even telling you? You're not
Mm.
paying attention to me anyway, so I'm gonna go
Mm.
ahead and let you have that, right?
Right.
Um, and that's when my intervention came because I did. I had everything mapped out, brother. Everything mapped out. I had
Wow.
place that I was going to do it, how I was going to do it. I had the weapon. I had
Wow.
everything mapped out. Everything mapped out. And you know the crazy part about it is that I was probably 2 seconds away from not being here. And that's when the creator came to me and was going, hey, before you do that, let me show you something. And
Mm.
the one thing that I realized, which really keeps me going in this work, is that I realized that it was never about me.
That's right. It's not. It's not.
It was never about me, right?
No.
Are you familiar with Dr. Miles Monroe?
Yes, I heard. I heard. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had a sermon that he did, and it was something that he said inside of it. He says, once you identify your gift, you're now obligated to give it.
That's right.
You owe me your gift. It is not yours to carry with you. And ever since that night, and I identified my gift, and I realized that it was just not a straightforward path. That there was so many different things that my gift, if I allowed it to, it would take me on these beautiful journeys. I was able to create things that no one has ever done before, and I was going. I wonder if anybody else sees this, right? And so I listened to everybody. Oh, you need this, and you need this, and you need this,
Mm-hmm.
brother. And I told everybody this. I go, don't let. If you're looking at what I'm doing and you're impressed with it, don't be.
Don't be.
Don't
Don't
be
be.
impressed with it.
Don't be.
I said, and you go, what do you mean? I said, because for one, if I told you how I started, you'll never believe me. And if I told you that you already have a hand up on me, you already have a head start, considering where I had to come from. And you're not taking advantage of it. So don't put me up on a pedestal when you got more than me. You just don't know how to use it. They said, what do you mean? I said, I built everything that you've seen while I was homeless.
That's right. That's right.
My organizations from podcast, I did all of that stuff while I was homeless. And I did it with the bare minimum. I said, well, you got social media. It don't cost me nothing to go on social media if those
I
stuff
know.
on there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
started doing
yeah,
educational stuff to help build up your brand. And people thought I was playing. I said, no, I don't think I am, but I'm going to do it anyway. 7 years later, people still coming to me going, hey, Tony, you think you can help me out a little bit? Things like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Man.
yeah,
One thing that they always say, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this before, the game is to be told and never sold.
yeah, yeah,
Knowledge
yeah,
is key.
yeah,
Wisdom is power.
yeah,
So the wisdom that you have came from the knowledge that you had to obtain, you know what I'm saying, through your own life experiences. Educate the next person so they may not make the same mistakes as you, right? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
But
And
what
this
are
is
your
the thing.
thoughts on that? What are you, see, I'm over here rambling. What are your thoughts?
Let me say something. And the thing that what I heard from you is that nobody know what you went through. Like you
No,
said, nobody know what you went through. To don't ask for someone else's blessings if you don't know what they've been through. Because if you knew what they've been through, you wouldn't even want it.
no.
If they say this is what you got to go through to get this, you probably wouldn't do it. And another thing, while we were doing interviews last year, it's like if we knew the trials and tribulations that we would go through in life, that God would have us go through,
Mm.
we wouldn't take that path. We would give up.
I don't know.
Some
I
people
don't
would.
know. Most people would, right?
Some people would. If God say you got to go through this, you got to go through that. Some people say, you know what, I ain't going through this
Yeah,
to get a podcast to get this. So that's why sometimes when we go through life, we just gotta we gotta go with faith and God's guidance.
right. And now here's this is why I said that I don't. I think I would have still if God would have told me
Uh huh.
that these are the things that I would have to go through, that I would have to lose everybody that I love, that I would have to be homeless over 20 times in my life, that I would have to lose a child, that I would be wandering this earth, you know what I'm saying, with pretty much just the willpower to survive what I
Uh
do,
huh.
I would say yes. For the simple fact of my mentality,
Trusting that he trusting that if he said you're gonna go through that and he's gonna be with you through that whole thing, yes.
but see, okay, now in when it comes down to some people, I would say yes. When it came down to me,
Uh huh.
was going, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to, this life is not going to, like, I'm a battle dog.
Hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? To me in life, it was like, I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. I'm either
Right.
going to survive or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no in between. For see, most people think that most of the people that I know, or
Hmm.
most people think that when we step into this life, they act as if we saw all the other paths. I never saw the other path. I saw what was in front of me, and
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm going to hit this thing head on,
Yeah.
and whatever happens, happens.
Happens.
Right? So I never saw the cushy fields. I never saw the flowers or any. I saw the path that was in front of me, and I said, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? I die.
Yeah. Yeah. You made a
You
decision.
know, like I never saw the other side of it. So yeah, in a lot of ways, I understand where you're coming from. But if I had been told that I would have to walk this path, I I refer to it like this, right?
Hmm.
There's a quote that I heard,
Hmm.
which it applies to I think most men out here in this world.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you a simple question.
Okay.
In your mind, when it comes to men,
Uh huh.
the term good man, what does it mean to you and why? What defines a good man to you?
Well, it depends on. For me, it's what you want out of life, because the things that we go through in life, right? We don't know how we're gonna handle those. Everybody look at uh, good being different, differently, right? So, for example, let me just get okay. So, my daughter, right? I've been in her life since birth, right? Uh, so I believe that I'm a good man because I'm a good father to her,
Mm. Okay.
right? So, like I said, everybody kind of look at that differently, because there's some situations that we're going to experience in life, whereas it's you don't know if you're going to be good at that time.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
You don't know if you're going to be good at that time. So, like I said, everybody look at everything differently when it comes to being good. That's just my opinion.
No, no, I definitely understand that. And I love that you. I love. Thank you for sharing that. Because my my thoughts and opinions on what a good man is.
Uh huh.
A good man, and this comes from a quote, right?
Uh
You know
huh.
what I'm saying? 'Cause I consider myself a good man in this
Mm-hmm.
world. I'm not a nice person.
Uh huh.
I'm not a nice man. I'm a good man.
Uh huh.
And the quote that really got me to really thinking was this: I became a good man because the monster inside of me was hard to control. Now, you take that and you apply it to your everyday life, right? A good man is someone who's capable of being violent, just as violent in life, but chooses not to. It's like the art of war, right? You know what I'm saying, Shinzao, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a peaceful individual, but do not mistake that, because if
Right.
you come to our doorstep with a war, I will
Peace, no
meet you in
going.
that area too.
That's right.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
know that I am beneficial in the people's lives that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know what I'm saying? Because I still carry the role of protector and provider.
That's right.
I protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Uh huh.
I provide for the people who don't have the means to provide for themselves, without any question. If I am with someone, or if I am walking and I see you take an old lady's purse and run off,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I have the ability to go and get that purse, but also break your arms in the same process. I'm not a nice person. I'm a good person. I'm a
Right.
good one. So that's my interpretation of it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
life experiences have given me the gift that I have, because in order to do grief work, I have to be a good person.
That's right. Of course. Yeah.
I have to be a good man, because my life experiences was not for me. It was for the people that I'm with. I'm glad that I was battle tested. Now I can get those other men battle ready through knowledge,
That's right.
through that experience. But
That's right.
again, that came from understanding what my role is in life, right?
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And what the Creator has given me to be able to, the tools that I needed to, or the tools that I have today that has been gifted to me to walk this path and still be strong enough to carry those on my back who can't walk for themselves. Right? You know what I'm
Amen.
saying? And to me, that's what grief work is.
Yes,
I
sir.
allow your space to be able to dump what you need on me, because I understand that you may need a hand when you go to stand up, but you can't do it carrying that weight on you.
That's right. That's
So
right.
again, I was battle tested, so I can help these guys get battle ready.
Ready. Amen.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes,
that's
sir.
conditioning their mind, body, spirit. You know what I'm saying? To be the men that they're supposed to be for the people that they need to be there for. But it calls us to have to heal as well. Now, let's talk about the song that you did. What encouraged you to do the song that you did?
Well, pretty much what encouraged me, based on the testimony that I shared with you when my dad had passed away, and like I said, um, God had put in my spirit. And actually, the song was written a couple of years back, probably a couple of years back. And actually, like I said, I just released it last year. And one of the reasons when I do interviews, right, I have the opportunity to kind of talk my testimony out, with those who are listening, stuff like that. And one of my goals was, being that I am an independent, contemporary inspirational gospel artist. One of my goals is to share my testimony, with other brothers, right? Um, and God afforded me the opportunity to put my testimony in a song format, and like I said, sometimes as independent contemporary gospel artists, we're not afforded the opportunity to share our testimony before we actually sing. Because when you get up to minister and song, you only got but so much time anyway, right?
Right.
So God afforded me the opportunity to kind of compact my testimony and specifically mention the key items that I want to share when it comes to my testimony, and that way, when I sang, brothers will hear my testimony in that song format. You know what I mean? And also, what encouraged me to do it, and it goes back to what you and I mentioned. Life is not about us. When we go through these trials and tribulations, right? Especially us as men, we need to really start encouraging each other, right? Because the Word of God says, "Iron sharpens iron," right? And we're
Yes.
here. We're here for a purpose and for a reason, right? Things that we go through in life. Once again, it's not about us, right? So God just afforded me the opportunity to put that song in put my testimony in an art format, and when I go out to minister it in song, like I said, really just to kind of motivate, encourage, inspire other brothers, right? And my main focus is to be a beacon of light, a beacon of hope, and a beacon of inspiration to upcoming men, to the upcoming generation and beyond. And the reason why I say, the upcoming generation and beyond, because there are some brothers who are probably older than me who still needs to hear my testimony. Some brothers who are older than you that
Oh yeah.
still they still need to hear these things, because some brothers are stuck, or they they just need to hear it. You know what I mean? So no matter the age, as long as we're living, you're always gonna be learning. You're always going to be growing, and you're always going to be maturing, no matter the age. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And we always going to be teaching as well.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, there's some people older than me, you know what I'm saying, that needs to hear our stories, man. There's people older than us that have been stuck, and not been able to move from out of a place of chaos and turmoil to finding that balance and being able to get out of survival mode into living mode, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it takes others like ourselves to be able to speak in a way to where other people can relate to what we've gone through.
Yeah.
But also, you know what I'm saying, our stories need to encourage other people as
Yes,
well,
sir.
right? You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Like, if you're looking at what I've done and you think that's something special, I think that what you got in you is more special than what I carry inside of me. I want to encourage you to look inside of yourself, find that spark, hold on to it, and manifest who you are. Because if you feel as if you're supposed to be doing something, 9 times out of 10, you're
Supposed to
supposed to
be
be doing
doing it.
something.
You're
You know what I'm
supposed,
saying?
you're
I
supposed to be
encourage
doing
people to question yourself. What are you put here for? And once you really figure that out, go after it as if it's the last thing that you do on this earth. See where it can take you.
it. That's
And
right.
don't worry about what all of these other things will come from, because as they always say, wherever God has for you,
That's for you.
can't nobody take away
That's
from
right.
it.
That's right.
The path
That's
that
right.
you're on is already written. Submit to it. Have faith in it. You know what I'm saying? But be willing to sacrifice those pieces of yourself so be uh, um, you can be equipped for what the gifts that are there for you.
Right. And when
Because
you
you
were
can't.
saying that, when you were saying that, that's why we have to commit to the purpose
Mm,
and commit to the assignment,
yes.
right? Because if we commit to that, and that means we're putting ourselves, our emotions out of the way.
Exactly.
Commit to the assignment, commit to the purpose. Because us as humans, we can be up one day, down the next day. There could be things that's going to interrupt us. One day and things. And like I said, if we commit to the purpose, to the assignment, it can happen. It can happen, and that's another thing. Like kind of brought me through. Like I said, because sometimes us as artists or whatever, doing podcasts and stuff like that, we're our own worst critics, man.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, man.
we
Yes, we are.
we are our own worst critics. That's why we have to, like I said, commit to the purpose, commit to the assignment. The only thing we could do our best, no more, no less. Once we do that, release it and let God do the rest. You know what I mean?
There you go, man. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I only have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
One, tell people where they can find your podcast, your show,
Okay.
and how often are you, you know what I'm saying, and when do you drop the episode?
Well, pretty much right now, it's not a regular routine for as an episode being dropped and stuff like that. So pretty much right now, I'm in talks with two other radio hosts, right? Because like I said, I pretty much got to go by the days that they conduct their shows. So I pretty much once we get everything like the participants, their dates, and let the radio host know that everybody's good for this date. So that's the way it's kind of done. So it's not like a set format. So pretty much right now I'm currently in talks with two other radio hosts to get two podcasts going and stuff like that. And hopefully we can get one going with you. I know we'll probably talk about a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Most
yeah.
definitely get one, and then on top of there, you know what I'm saying? Having you at this year's 2026
Yes,
Global
sir.
Youth
Yes, sir.
Conference
Yes,
and
sir.
everything. So,
Sir.
guys, keep your eyes peeled for that as well. More information is going to be coming. Be on the lookout for the magazine. Once we start to get the schedule and stuff together, you're going to find a lot of the presenters in the magazine as well. So, you know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Okay.
Also with the schedule that's coming and everything, which you guys can look forward to. So, Read Talk Magazine, you guys already know that's going to be the magazine that I do and everything, and I'm going to be putting that out to keep you guys informed.
Okay.
But also, how can people find you on your social media?
Pretty much. I'm pretty much under my name, Theodore Chestnut. If you type in Theodore Chestnut, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok. And pretty much, if you're looking to get in contact with me, just I'm more so on Facebook other than TikTok and Instagram. Just send me a Facebook message. Listen, I don't have no middleman. You can hit me up directly, and I'll respond to you. So like I said, you can hit me up, and it'll be my pleasure to respond to you. And like those are the ways. And I also like the single that I just released. It is on all digital media outlets. Or you got YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's on CD Baby, iTunes, and stuff like that. So if you want to listen to that single, you can get and listen to that. And to be honest with you, I'm an artist. Whereas when it comes to people listening to my music, listen. If you want a MP3 sent to you, you can send me a message and I'll send you an MP3. Because my heart is pretty much when it comes to people streaming, right? The when you get a stream, it's only like what 2-3 cents a stream, 4 cents a stream, and stuff like that, right? So it's really not about the stream and not about the 3 or 4 cents, right? Your soul for the kingdom is worth more than a 3 or 4 cent stream. So if you want to send me a Facebook message and say, Mr. Chestnut, can you just email me the MP3? It'll be my pleasure to do that. Because the increase will the increase will the income will increase in God's timing. It's not about money.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
oh yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? To celebrate the little wins, man, because you never know. You know what I'm saying?
Never
When
know.
you celebrate the little wins and you have gratitude and appreciation for them, you'll never know when the big wins come because
That's
you
right,
just
sir.
focus on just celebrating those little things, right? You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? So one more question. Well, a couple
Yes,
more
sir.
questions for you.
Yeah.
If Mr. Chestnut had a superpower, what would it be?
If I had a superpower, that's a great question. If I had a superpower, hmm, I don't know, man. That's a great question, though. That's that's an excellent question. I would have to think. I'm gonna be honest with you because I don't like to make stuff up. But that's a great question.
Well,
I have to
yeah,
think about that.
think about it because it can be anything that you want, right? You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to answer it right now because I'm going to ask you again one of these
Okay,
times.
I'll be well prepared for it. I'll be well prepared for it. But that's an excellent question. That's an excellent question.
Now, as we begin to wrap this one up, I want to put you on a big screen.
Yes, sir.
Do me a favor, leave the audience with something, but also tell the audience the podcast that brought you on today. All right, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I'm gonna let you go ahead and take us out, brother.
Okay. Thank you so much. First and foremost, before I do that, I just want to say thank you so much, Mr. Tony Lynch, for affording me the opportunity to be a part of your platform. I love the title of your platform. Grief. Let's talk about it. I am a young man who experienced grief. But God has brought me through that grief, and not to say that I won't experience more grief, but I will, through my trials and tribulations, I've learned in how to handle grief. Right, there's some things that's out of my control that it's going to happen in life, right? And for those of you who are listening, I want to say to you, there are things that you've experienced, and there are things that you're going to experience that's pretty much going to be out of your control, right? But God will afford you the opportunity. God will afford you the grace and mercy to make it through your trial and tribulations. Just remember that the trial and tribulation that you're going through is not about you, right? Although emotionally or physically you're going to experience whatever it is, right? But once you press through that, I promise you from my experience that there is a blessing on the other side of grief. Once again, there is a blessing on the other side of grief. Tony Lynch and myself is a living testimony of that, right? Right. And what God does for others, well, what God did for us, He will do the same thing for you, right? And that's His purpose. That's what He's looking to do, right? So just make sure that, like I said, whatever trial and tribulation that you go through, don't make it about you. You're going to experience the physical, you're going to experience the emotional, but like I said, once you're on the other side of grief, I promise you that you will be a living testimony. Amen. Thank you so much for joining. Amen.